Alright, all you listeners to the madness, welcome back to Under the Radar. And if you're wondering at home what was my Mother's Day gift, well, technically this show. My brand of silliness and madness brought to her. So yeah, the best thing I could give for Mother's Day besides a card or chocolate or overly expensive flowers is a brand of silliness that only we can provide here on this said show. So, it may be a little bit late, but happy Mother's Day! And with that Mother's Day shout out of the way, folks, I think it's time for us to take out our left-handed scissors to cut out something besides a whole bunch of hearts like they made me do in 5th grade for a very special post-Mother's Day edition of Yesterday's News. And in our first Yesterday's News story, and in sad news in the world of Vegas show entertainment, and in the world of magic, Roy Horn, one half of Siegfried and Roy, unfortunately died this week or last week at the age of 75 years old thanks to the COVID-19 virus. And this is real sad to me because out of all the magicians I knew as a kid, outside of David Copperfield, Siegfried and Roy was probably one of the biggest magicians I've ever heard of since I was a kid, especially with the tiger performances that they would perform in Las Vegas. And next to Mr. Las Vegas himself, these were probably the biggest acts in the history of Las Vegas for well over 20 years. And unfortunately, their last performance would end up paralyzing Roy in the magic act that they would decide to do in 2003 thanks to the Tiger of Manticore that would end up paralyzing him during the performance. But besides that tragic end that ended the career of them about well over 17 plus years ago, we here at Under the Radar would like to say on behalf of Roy, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And before we move on, the saddest part that we had to report on this is the fact that Siegfried would go on to say that the world has lost one of the greats in magic, but he's lost his best friend. Really sad. I mean, both of them were attached at the hip for so many years, but truly, truly sad. And to continue with the sad news, unfortunately, folks, for you fans out there of classic music and rock and roll, Little Richard this past weekend unfortunately died at the age of 87 due to his long battle with cancer. And we here who are big fans of Little Richard, especially of the Little Richard movie that they aired on VH1 a couple of years back ago, knew how special this man was with not only such hits as Slippin' and Slidin', Rippin' It Up, Ready Teddy, The Girl Can't Help It, Lucille, Jenny, Keep On A Knockin', or Keep A Knockin', but most importantly, one of his greatest hits of all time of the song Tutti Frutti that came out in 1955. And the reason why we like Little Richard so much, not only because of the way he acts on the microphone and the way that he was able to combine so many different forms of styles together besides blues, rock and roll, and gospel, but he was also very funny with all of his performances, and every single last one of them were more memorable than the last. And we here at Under the Radar would like to say on behalf of Little Richard, may your work live on forever, and may you forever rest in peace. And in other news, and in more or less video game news, for you fans out there looking to play the Switch hit game of Brawler Ninjala, unfortunately it's been announced as of last week that this game has been pushed from May 27th all the way till June 24th due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And I, for one, would say, hey, You know, they only delayed it by a month. So you only have to wait 1 month to actually get your hands on this game, which should give them enough time to work out any sort of bugs that are in this game, and not to mention, gives you a chance to play something during the summer. Yeah, I'm trying to find the silver linings in this, and I got a feeling with it being delayed by a month, definitely gives you time to go ahead and check out other games that are a part of the Switch library. And here's hoping that once this game comes out, I can even take a crack at it. Especially after seeing the trailer for this said game, it sort of reminds me of a ninja sword version of Splatoon, with the exception that there's not ink creatures spilling ink all over the place. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out any other delayed news or news toward this game, or even check out the trailer for this game as well, you can head on over to the YouTube or even Twitter page only known as Play Ninjala to check it out for yourselves. And with all those news stories out of the way for this week, folks, wraps it up for another edition of Yesterday's News. And I guess with that said, we might as well head back into the music once again, and when we return, we'll be back with more madness than you can shake a silver star at, as Under the Radar continues right after this. So don't go watching those infomercials just yet, folks, and stay tuned.